We are moving on to a new topic, telephone conversation. Now, telephone has become a part of our lives. It has become a very important part. Everybody is with a mobile phone. Without a phone, our activities will become very difficult. Along with this pandemic, I think we had to provide mobile phones or a smartphone even for our small children who were schooling. Earlier, we were really objecting the students using mobile phones, but now everyone is using a mobile phone, especially for their education purpose. So now there are certain things we need to consider when using a telephone and also when we are engaged in conversations over the phone. Okay, now let's see the points that we have to consider while using the telephone, and especially the language that we are going to use. What is a telephone conversation? Do you all have any idea about it? Every day we use or we get engaged in conversations over the telephone more than 3-4 times. So, it is the transmission of a message through a phone. We give some message to the person on the other end, or sometimes we get information from them. So that is the telephone conversation, passing of the messages or receiving messages through the phone. So the telephone conversations can be of two types. That means formal and informal. Informal conversations can be between the friends and relatives. There we don't care much about the language and the way we speak. But when it comes to formal conversation, that means when you call an office or to your boss or some important person, it's not going to be an informal conversation, it's going to be a formal conversation. There, you need to consider about the language, how you're going to greet as soon as you receive the call or as soon as you make the call, and also while placing the call back, how you're going to end. There are certain things that you need to consider when you make these formal calls especially. So, in the following activities, the following lessons, we'll see how we are going to handle the telephone, how we are going to get engaged in telephone conversations. Telephone etiquettes. It's a very important part in telephone conversations. That means how to use a telephone. In other words, the manners. So, answer calls promptly. Every phone rings equally to 6 seconds. So, when you hear the phone, you need to answer the phone immediately. Don't keep the caller wait for a long time to pick the phone. Then, when you answer the call, greet the caller warmly and advise who they are talking to. So, when you answer, you have to greet. You have to say good morning or good evening, good afternoon, and say who you are. I'm the teacher of this school, or I am the manager of this company. You have to say who you are. Then the person who is calling will know to whom they are talking to. The third point, your attitudes determines your customer's attitude. That means when you answer the call, if you are rude to the caller or if you speak little angrily, then that on the other side you will face some reactions. That means your attitude is your customer's attitude. The person on the other side also might talk to you little rude. So to be very careful, especially the tone and the language. Next point, active listening is everything. So when you are talking, when you are conversing over the phone, if you are not really listening to the person on the other side, you will not receive the correct message and you will not be giving the correct response. So everything is listening. You have to listen to the caller very actively. That's a very important point. Make the caller feel welcomed. That means the caller should feel satisfied. So if you talk rudely or if you didn't respond properly, the caller will feel disappointed. So don't do that. You have to be very careful when handling or when conversing or answering a call. Next point, speak clearly. And within bracket it says and professionally when required. If you are making a formal call, you have to be very professional. You just can't use casual words and speak casually. But you have to speak clearly, even if it is informal or formal. Right? But if it is a formal call, it should be very professional. Then be helpful. So normally we have a lot of experience calling the departments, especially the government sector, right? The receiver, very reluctantly sometimes they give answers, they respond. No, you have to be very helpful. You can say, I can find out and I'll let you know later. May I take your number? There are so many things in a way you can help the people. To be careful. Next one, don't shout or whisper. Right? Don't shout over the phone or you don't whisper. If you whisper, the person on the other end will not hear you clearly. And if you shout, the caller will feel very embarrassed. So be careful with your voice. Next point, don't leave the caller on hold for too long. Right? Sometimes when we call the office, they say hold on and they try to transfer us to the particular places. But at times we have to wait for a very long time. So please don't keep the caller on hold for too long. Next one, don't be distracted. So while you are answering a call, don't watch the television or don't get involved in another conversation of the person seated next to you. You have to attend to the call properly. So don't get distracted. Don't think about anything else. Listen to the caller and respond properly. The last point, make a proper ending. Right? When you place the phone, you greet or you say good night, goodbye, or give a proper ending, and then you can place the phone back. So these are some points for you to think when you're using a phone. Hope you got the idea. Please keep these things in your mind. Here you can see some common phrasal verbs related to telephone. Hope you have heard these words before. Pick up, speak up, get through, hang on, call back, break up, hold on, put through, hang up, cut off. Have you all heard these words? Okay. Now, do you know the meaning of these words? Here it is very clearly given to you. Hope you can understand, read and understand. But I'll read it for you. Get through, to contact by telephone. I'll get through. For an example, you said if you want to fall into a conversation or get some information, give some information, you say, I get through to you. That means you are going to contact the person on the other end over the phone. But to contact by telephone, get through. Hang on, to wait for a short time. So when somebody calls you and asks for another person, that means you have to pass the message to the other person to say that somebody is calling you. You say, hang on, hold on, you say. Right? So that means to wait for a short time. The next word, call back. To return a phone call. We use these words. We normally say, I'll call you back. That means I will return the call. I will call you again. Call back. Look at the other one. Break up. To be inaudible. That means over the mobile phone. That means you can't hear the person on the other end. Inaudible. You can't hear. So that means the call break up. Look at the next one. Hold on. To wait for a short time. The same phrase. Hang on, hold on. Both the same meaning. We say normally, hold on for a minute. Hold on, please. Right. Next one. Put through. To connect by telephone with someone else. Normally when you call a department or an office or a company, the phone call sometimes will go to the reception and they will transfer the call. So put through. To connect by telephone with someone else. Next one, hang up. To end the telephone call by breaking the connection. That means the purpose of the call is over, then you are going to hang up the phone, cut the call. You say, normally we say, cut the call. No, this is the word, hang up. To end the telephone call by breaking the connection. Next one, cut off. To interrupt a telephone conversation. Interruption. Disturbances. Right? So cut off. To interrupt a telephone call. You disconnect. Next one, pick up. To answer the phone. To answer the phone, we say, pick up the phone. That means answer the call. Next one, speak up. That means to speak louder. If the person on the other end, if they can't hear you, they might say speak up. Then speak louder. So these are some the common phrasal verbs related to the telephone. Normally we use all these phrasal verbs. So remember their meaning also. You can go through the slide once again and read it yourself. Under this telephone conversation, in the previous lessons, we talked about this formal conversation and informal conversation. So then I told you all that we have to be little careful about the language, especially when you make formal calls. Now here, I've just listed down a few examples, just a few points for you to think how this language is formed. Look at the column, the formal, right? Say, good morning. I'm sorry, she is out of the office today. I'm sorry, she is out of the office today. Thank you for calling. May I ask who is calling, please? May I ask who is calling, please? I'm trying to contact. Please wait. I'm afraid he is in a meeting. I'm afraid he is in a meeting. I would like to make a reservation. I would like to make a reservation. Could you hold on a moment, please? Could you hold on a moment, please? So these are some formal statements. So now we'll look at the informal column and we'll compare the language and see the difference. Right? Is Rosie there? Is Rosie there? It's very informal. You just can't call an office and ask, is Rosie there? How do we ask? We have to ask, can I speak to Rosie, please? If it is a formal call, you will ask, can I speak to Rosie, please? But if it is informal, you can ask, is Rosie there? So, see the difference between formal and informal conversations. Look at the other point. Hello, George's phone. Hello, George's phone. Right? That means, is that John? Sorry, is that George? Right? So, see how they are using the language here. It's very short. Right? So, in the formal place, she asked or he asked, may I ask who is calling, please? Now, in the informal part, you see, the question is, who is it? Who is it? Right? So, formally, when you want to know the name of the person who is calling, or if you want to know the person who is calling, you ask, may I ask who is calling, please? Or may I know who is calling, please? But here, you simply ask, who is it? Now, note the difference between formal and informal conversations. Next one. Yes, next one. I can't hear you. Right? I can't hear you. If it is in a formal place, you will ask or we will ask, can you please louder, please? We will say, can you speak louder, please? Right? But here, you simply say, I can't hear you. Right? And the next point, just a minute. just a minute. But if it is a formal, we will say, please hold on for a minute. Please hold on. We will excuse the person and will say politely. Then the next point, okay, wait a moment. Okay, wait a moment. But in the formal place, we can't say that. Next point, speak to you later. Speak to you later, right? But in formal situations, you just can't drop the phone saying that speak to you later. It is not formal. So informal situations only you can speak, you can use such conversations. The last one, I'll let him know that you rang. I'll let him know that you rang. Right? Now hope you understood the difference between the formal and informal conversations. Then there is an activity which follows. There you will understand this point clearly. That means there are more phrases for you to think of, and hope you will have a good understanding between the use of language in both situations, formal and informal. We have come to the task 8. Here there is a list of statements, or sometimes the questions, phrases, right? So now in the previous lesson we went through, we saw some examples related to this formal and informal conversation. So here there is a list of formal and informal statements. So you are going to read them carefully and decide to yourself whether the statement is formal or informal and put them in the correct columns. So this is the task 8. Read the phrases or the statements given in the above slide and categorize them. Put them into the correct column. See whether they are formal or informal. This is a formal conversation, a formal telephone conversation. So in the previous lessons, we discussed about the use of language. What is the language that we use for formal conversations and informal conversations. Now here we'll see how this formal conversation is taking place. Hello, this is Paul Daniel calling. May I speak to Mr. Pereira, please?
Please hold on a moment. I'll see is he in. Hello, I'm sorry. Mr. Pereira can't take the call at this time. He's at a meeting. May I take a message or would you like to return your call?
Could you please tell him that I will drop by and discuss about the board meeting this evening?
Sure, I'll give the message.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So hope you understood the use of the language in a formal conversation. Let's see to an informal conversation and we see the difference. This is an informal conversation, an example for an informal conversation. In the previous lesson, we just went through how a formal conversation took place. So we'll listen to this and we'll see the difference between the use of language and the flow of the conversation.
Hi Rosie, how's everything going on?
Hey, cool. How are you?
Good. Holidays?
Yep, enjoying.
What about your husband?
He is working now. Something to tell him?
If he can call me back, please.
Sure, I'll tell him.
Thanks, Rosie. Take care. Hey, what happened to your daughter's university admissions?
She got registered at Peradeniya.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Right. So this is an informal conversation. So you would have noticed the difference between the two conversations. Here, even after saying thanks Rosie, take care, again he is asking, what about your daughter's university admissions? Right. So these things are very informal. But in a formal conversation, we don't discuss anything irrelevant to the topic. But in informal conversations, normally we discuss things very freely which are related to each other. As we are friends or family members, make these informal calls. Hope you understood the difference between a formal and informal conversation. So there is an interesting activity which is following. This is the task sheet 9, the last activity on telephone conversation. Read the following situations and write 2 telephone conversations. So you have to write 2 telephone conversations. One is for a formal situation and the other one is for an informal situation. Okay, we'll see the question. I'll read it for you. You want to reserve a table for 5 at a restaurant called The Dark Essence and make a reservation for 8 p.m. this Saturday. So that is the question. The name of the restaurant is The Dark Essence. So you want to reserve a table for 5. So you hope to go there at 8 p.m. this Saturday. But there is a note. The restaurant is completely booked for Friday and Saturday nights this week. Then you can guess, if you call the restaurant, the receptionist or the manager will answer the call and you can guess what the response will be. So, plan your conversation between you and the restaurant. That is a formal conversation. Then number 2 is an informal conversation. Let's see the situation. Your friend borrowed your car to get some more cake and sweets for the party. You call him on his cell phone to remind him about some chips. So then you all are going to have a party and your friend borrowed your car to buy some more cakes and sweets. You're calling to remind about some chips. You're going to call him on the cell phone. Okay, there is a note. The car had driven into a lamppost and your friend is not hurt, but the car is badly damaged. So, if you call your friend now, you know what you are going to hear. And it is your car. Hope you can imagine the situation and hope you will write a very interesting conversation. I would like if I can have a look at your conversations that you are going to write. Anyway, all the best. Try to write interesting the conversations between the restaurant and you and your friend. So we are moving on to the next topic, writing simple compositions. How to write compositions. That means how to write a simple essay, or we say a paragraph or something, right? So how do I plan the composition structure? When you're going to write an essay, you should have a plan. You should form the frame before we start writing the composition. So we'll see how we are going to plan the steps for a composition. Here are the points to consider when you are writing a composition. First point, opening sentence. Topic, approach. That is a very important point. With the opening sentence, you are going to give a big impact to your composition. So we need to plan the opening sentence. Next point, ideas connected to the opening sentence. So I told that we need to plan the opening sentence because it's very important. So the ideas connected to the opening sentence should be another point. And the third point, details about those ideas. Examples can be given or some elaborations. So details about those ideas. Next point, closing sentence. How are we going to end the composition? What is the conclusion? That's very important. That also we need to plan. And the next point, write a title. When you are writing a composition, it should have a title, heading, topic, right? The composition should have a topic. Next one, organize ideas into paragraphs. So we are not going to write the composition in one full paragraph. We have to break the ideas into different paragraphs. That's important. So then it is easy for the reader. And also for us, it is very easy to plan if we break the ideas into paragraphs. So we need lot of planning. Next one, after planning, after considering all these points, we start writing the composition. So after writing, for an example, we'll say we are writing an essay, right? After completing the essay, we should read again and see whether we have made mistakes. So the last point, correct your compositions. Sometimes we would have forgotten to place the capital letters, full stop, question marks. There's so many. Sometimes we might make grammatical errors. When you read for the second time, we will be able to note our mistakes. So correct your composition. So these are few ideas, few points for us to consider when writing a composition. Here is a simple idea to frame a composition. Brainstorm the idea related to the topic. Brainstorming is a very interesting fact, and also it's very good, very easy to frame, very easy to write compositions if you brainstorm the ideas before you write. So now here it's a very simple point that I have given for you to consider to get an idea, clear idea about brainstorming. We'll see. For an example, the first point, you write the topic and you think about all the nouns that is related to the topic. Then the adjectives, verbs, adverbs, if there are any other information that you need to give, and sayings and examples. So you put them into these columns. After that, it will be easy for us to build up the sentences. So we'll go to the next slide and see what is happening in the next stage. According to the previous frame, here now we have chosen a title, My Family. Then the nouns, members, husband, sons, daughter, television, newspaper, garden, plants. These are some nouns which I thought of when I think about this topic, my family. Sometimes this list of nouns may differ from yours. So we'll see how the composition is going to come up. So the next one is the adjectives. Happy, elder, friendly, younger, small, helpful, kind, strict, peaceful. We'll look at the verbs: live, play, watch, read, work, clean, water, cook, gardening. So which I consider the most important verbs related to my family. These adverbs: happily, kindly, quickly. And also I did not find any other information, any other extra information. Right? Sometimes you might have something to fill. Okay. Then the sayings. Family is not an important thing. It's everything. Family is everything to me. Next saying. In time of test, family is best. So if you have any hardships, it is always the family which stands by your side. So in time of test, family is best. Those are the two sayings which came into my mind. So with these words, now I have listed out all the nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs and two sayings. So with this list, we'll see how we can write the composition. The topic is my family. Read the following composition and try to understand the basics. So, we listed out all the vocabulary that is related to my family and we'll see how this goes. There are 5 members in my family. They are my husband, 2 sons, daughter and myself. Ours is a very happy and a peaceful family. We live in a small village. My husband is a very kind person. He treats everyone kindly. But he is very strict about working on time. My children are very helpful. I can cook tasty meals. My husband reads the newspaper daily and updates us about the important events. We all watch television together in the night and enjoy the family time. We have a small garden. Every weekends we work in the garden. We clean and water the plants every day. We enjoy gardening. We have a lot of flowering plants in it. As per the saying, in time of test, the family is the best. We always stand together every time, helping each other. Family is not an important thing, it's everything. Alright? Now, hope you understood how this went. Now see whether at least 90% of the word list is here in the composition, and see how the paragraphs are planned. First paragraph is just an introduction to the family, and the second paragraph how the members of the family. Then the third paragraph about the work that you all do to enjoy and work together. And the last one is a conclusion. So it's a very simple composition, and you will see how that is planned. So it's an easy way. If you can brainstorm the ideas before you write a composition, I think you can write a good composition. There are many other ways also, but I just thought of introducing this. If you all can write some other methods, you all can write. We have come to the task sheet 10. Here you have a small composition. Read the composition given below and give it a title. For this, I told you, when you write a composition, we need to give a title. So this composition doesn't have a title. So you read it to yourself and select a suitable title for this composition. I will not read it for you. You have to read it. Please try to read aloud 3 or more times and then give a suitable title for this composition. This is the task 11. Read the following composition and try to put the ideas into 2 paragraphs. So, when we were talking about the points to write a composition, we understood breaking the points into the paragraphs is important, right? But this composition is a one full paragraph. Read the composition carefully about a village doctor. This is about a village doctor. Read it and try to put these into 2 paragraphs. That is the task which is given for you under task sheet 11. Hope you will, and hope you will enjoy this story about the village doctor too. This is task 12, the last activity for you. Look at the following diagram and try to extend the web. Then write a short composition on the topic mass media. Right? So I have just filled the first web, but you can extend TV, radio, internet, magazine, newspaper, social media. The topic is mass media. So for an example, we'll take the TV. When you take the TV, you can extend the web and add more words or verbs, adjectives, nouns, things to it. So we have looked into one particular idea in the previous lesson. Take that idea also. You can apply that idea here. For an example, TV, entertainment, films, music, DVD, recording, so many things. When it comes to the radio, again, entertainment, music, news. You listen to the news over the radio, right? Like that, you can extend this web and write a good and complete composition. You can search for information, especially using the internet if you want. You can search for information in magazines, newspapers, social media, everything to write about mass media. So hope you all will write a very good short composition on the topic mass media. That's the end of my session. Thank you very much for y'all for being with me, and I hope I helped y'all at least a little. Hope that y'all enjoyed the activities, and good luck, my dear teachers.